We have some details regarding Star Wars Shatterpoint, mainly regarding the list building, and I have to say it's actually not my favourite thing. So let's talk about it. So this is the article they've posted today. It's Star Wars Shatterpoint squad building, and it is very interesting. A lot of it confirms what we sort of expected, but it's interesting to see how exactly it will work. I'm going to skip the fluff and jump into the actual details. The first thing they say is at the most basic level, in Star Wars Shatterpoint, each player brings a strike team. Each strike team is made up of 2 squads. We pretty much expected that. That does mean that there's quite a lot of list building you can do just with the core set. And it actually gets bigger and more interesting than that. Each squad must include 1 primary unit, 1 secondary unit, and 1 supporting unit. Each individual miniature is said to be a character, but a unit can be made up of multiple characters. So why characters like Ahsoka are going to just be a primary unit and it's just going to be 1 character, the B1 droids, that's actually probably a unit that is going to have 2 bases, and I think do they have 2 or 3 B1 battle droids on them? That's going to be 1 unit, but 2 characters. A little bit confusing, but that's just the way it's going to work. And they make it clear that in the core set, the primary characters are going to be Ahsoka, Jedi no more, so these subtitles are important, but let's not talk about them too much. General Anakin Skywalker, Asajj, and Lord Maul. So let's jump into the cards and explain what they mean. The squad point is very interesting. Basically, each primary character that you pick to start off your squad, they give you a certain number of points, and then you spend that number of points building the rest of your squad. So if you take Ahsoka, for example, you're going to get 8 squad points, and that's what you have to spend. The idea being let's say you take a super powerful character, maybe they're only going to give you 5 squad points. In theory, we'll actually probably be able to work out the value of the primary character. You know, maybe the actual squad points you could say is 15, and Ahsoka is just 7. Do you know what I mean? Like, you could say it like that. But you can see here on this card, we do actually have the squad points. We have the era, which is not as important as I thought it was going to be. I'm guessing this one here is Force Power. And then you have the official title here. The fact that she is Ahsoka Tano basically means you can't take multiple of her. And in this case, you can tell she's primary. Then they give this as an example, right? So if you take Ahsoka, you can then take Bo-Katan, who is worth 4 points. And then you can take the Clan Crazed Mandalorians, who are also worth 4. There's actually 2 models in that unit though, 2 characters in that unit. And you can tell that because there's like this little 2 symbol here. And they both, neither of them have force powers. So just to reiterate that, you take Ahsoka, that gives you 8 points to spend. She's the primary, but then for your secondaries, then you spend those 8 points. So you could do a 4 and a 4, or you can do a 5 and a 3, or you could even do a 6 and a 2 if that's even possible. Now this is interesting because they basically confirm that the Galactic Civil War is coming. They don't show any cards, they don't even really confirm it too much, but they're giving an example here involving the Galactic Civil War, and what's interesting is what's definitely going to be coming. So your strike team can actually be made up of different squads from different eras. However, each squad needs to be made up of models from that era. So you can, for example, in the same squad, not even the same strike team, in the same squad, you can take General Anakin Skywalker, Gar Saxon, and some B2 battle droids. You could then pair that with somebody from a different era, but it does say you can't take Anakin with Princess Leia and Stormtroopers. That's not possible because they're from different eras, but you actually could combine Darth Vader, Princess Leia, and Stormtroopers. Like, that's actually possible. Here it just explains that you can't have 2 of the same character. That makes sense. If they're from different eras or even just different titles, then you obviously can't take 2 of them unless there's good reason. And just to say here, let's read this. However, the rules on eras only apply to the squads themselves, so players can mix and match their squads freely. If you want to see General Obi-Wan Kenobi and his 212th clone join forces with Darth Vader and his Imperial cronies, Shatterpoint will let you do that. So you can actually play across era as well, which if I'm honest, is even more weird than I anticipated. Here's where they actually show the difference between the 2 Ahsokas. So keep in mind that this is 8 points, like squad points, because she's the primary unit. With on this one, which is going to be the early access one, she's actually the secondary unit, so she costs 4 points. Doesn't seem to have any force powers, so I don't know if that is force or what that is. Somebody will know and I just don't. It's worth noting as well that you actually can't take duplicate units. So in your entire strike team, so not your squad, in your entire strike team, you can only take 1 unit of clone troopers or battle droids. You can't have 2 squads with the battle droids in them, well, the B1 battle droids, which they say is to try and make them feel special as well. Fair enough, I actually don't hate that. Now, having said all this about how you can just mix and match like this, you can actually have good guys and bad guys in the same squad, and then you can have 2 different squads from 2 different eras in the same strike team, they do say you are probably going to want to maintain synergy. And they list some of the keywords that these characters might have. So they might have Jedi, Separatist, Scoundrel, Clone Trooper, and so on and so forth, right? And if we look at Captain Rex, you can see he's 501st, he's a Clone Trooper, and he's a Galactic Republic. Now, these don't actually affect the list building themselves, technically. They have no inherent rules, as they put it. They do say that the vast majority of unit abilities, which they're going to talk about in the future, they will specify one of these keywords. So while you can put Clone Captain Rex in with your B1 battle droids, those B1 battle droids aren't going to be able to benefit from any of his abilities that specify the Galactic Republic or Clone Trooper tags. So you are sort of going to want to keep within the era and probably within the keywords, right? You're going to probably want your squads to be all Galactic Republic, and probably even want your strike team to be all Galactic Republic, just for the synergy that's going to bring. They do say that not all of the units are dependent on these synergies, but obviously a lot of them are going to be, right? We get another closer look here at the card though. We can see an actual ability, so let's quickly go through that. At the start of this unit's activation, choose a character in this unit or another allied Galactic Republic character. The chosen character may move, presumably, and may gain something else, which obviously I don't know what they're doing. I'm not 100% sure what these symbols are. I never really properly played Marvel Crisis Protocol. Obviously this looks like health. I don't know, is this guy getting stunned or courage or something like that? I don't really know. But you can see on the back of the card how many abilities we're sort of looking at here. For example, Captain Rex looks like he's got 5 different abilities. Now, if I'm honest, I actually really like the list building concept. I like having this sort of like squad point system, and I like then spending those points. I'm just not keen on this idea that you can just so freely mix and match. I just find it a little bit weird. The fact that you could have Darth Vader, Princess Leia, and Stormtroopers playing alongside more Padawan Ahsoka B1 battle droids, like, that's just weird, and I don't really like it. I thought we were going to have it so that the strike teams had to be from the same era, but that's just not the case. And then it's a little bit worse than I envisioned, because the actual squads themselves, they can be from like good or bad within the same squad. I thought it was going to be that you could just mix different squads, so you could have 2 squads from the same era, but you could basically have Galactic Republic and Separatists. But no, it's actually the squads themselves that you can split down. The squad itself can be mixed between Galactic Republic and Separatists, Empire and Rebels. Like, I just find that weird. And my main distaste for it is that, well, it's good the fact that the core set's going to give you so many different options when you think about it. Like, you're just going to get so much, but it's bad just for like list building when it comes to buying everything. It is really going to make people think that they have to buy everything, and I really don't like that. I would have preferred a system where I could just play the Galactic Republic, or I could just play Separatists. I understand that they're going to make that probably the strongest way to play, because those synergies, I'm guessing, are actually going to be super important, right? Synergies in most war games, generally quite important. But I don't know, it rubs me the wrong way, and I'm not even like a lore guy. I know in stories generally, you know, good guys and bad guys will team up occasionally. They use that excuse with Marvel Crisis Protocol, but I don't like it. Not for even lore reasons, I just think it's like just bad in terms of its concept. I just don't really fancy it. I understand you can say, yeah, it's realistic to the cartoons and stuff like that, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to offer more than what we would have had without it, so I don't see the point. Anyway, let's not dwell on it too much. I really like the concept and the way the things that are built. I like that squad concept. As I said, there's probably going to be a point where people will just realize that a main character has a specific value, and that total value will add up to something. They're probably calling Ahsoka like 7 points, and then they're like, well, if you've got a total of 15, then you have 8 left. They could have done it that way, but they're not doing it that way. They're doing it this way, and I'm on board with that. That's completely fine. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, though. Have a most beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.